Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got an explosive video for you today. 126 million XRP moved. Is Flare ready for liftoff? They just may very well be. And massive news, there's a new attorney that's been granted amicus curiae to the court for technical consultancy, Lilia Tesler. And we're going to get into that and several other clips of a former SEC staffer to prove that the SEC never had clarity, as Gary Gensler claims. And in fact, it appears that they didn't even agree on the William Hinman speech. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today, 2.130 cryptocurrency market cap. That's where we're at this morning. We're going to just, let's refresh this page a minute because I've been busy putting some videos together. It's 2.1 cryptocurrency market cap, and XRP or Bitcoin sitting right now at 47,400 plus, Ethereum at 3,500 plus, Cardano 283 is strong, and XRP at $1.20 holding most of the gains that it had from yesterday. We hit a 123 yesterday for a high. We are 119.39. Low price is 112.88. And again, we will keep an eye on it. Again, Coins Kid and another price analysis before we get out of here today. Take a look at this. Ripple and top tier exchanges moved 126 million XRP, moved 30 million XRP to its ODL corridors, Bitso and Coins PH. How about that? Yeah, who says we don't have use case? You better ask somebody. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And right here is Flare Network says we have been working with exchanges to make sure that they have made their claims properly before any distribution is made. We have been able to double check the claim of all major exchanges and almost all supporting exchanges. That process finished this morning. Uh-oh. Are we getting ready to see Flare launch? And if so, wouldn't it be timely if this were to happen right at the point or just before we get a settlement from the Ripple SEC case over XRP? Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Looking right here, Hall of Famer Crypto Wolf says XRP lawsuit, SEC wants access to Ripple's internal staff meeting recordings. They're specifically talking about Antoinette O'Gorman, who did her deposition, and she had remarked that they recorded their meetings, and there are one or a couple of different meetings in particular that they would like to get a hold of. I think this is just that, that's, what do you call it, gamesmanship that happens in a case. I'm 12 years short of a law degree, but nevertheless, this looks like, I'm going to press real hard to try to get more out of your side. You're going to turn around and counter and do the same thing to my side. We saw and witnessed a lot of this yesterday, right? Didn't we not? So we're going to keep an eye on this, but it doesn't stop there because we also know James K. Filan tells us, who's quickly become a Hall of Famer here, defendants Ripple Larson filed motion to compel the SEC to answer interrogatories identifying the SEC's theory of how the Howey test applies to virtually all of defendants' transactions in XRP over the last 8 years. You see what I mean? There's that gamesmanship. Fine. You want to see in my underwear drawer? Now I want to see in yours. Prove it. Prove it, fella. Right? So, looking at all these transactions, they obviously realize that they're going to have a very, very difficult time applying the Howey test to that. And you're about to see some information I'm going to play for you of this new attorney that's been granted to be the technical consultant to the court in a second that is going to blow your mind. And here's the news from Hall of Famer Michael that says, XRP lawsuit, the securities expert attorney Lilia Tesler to offer technical consultancy to the court. And this is it right here. And you're about to see some incredible video about her opinions of what's going on from all the way back to 2018. The latest development in the XRP lawsuit saw the court granting attorney Lilia Tesler's plea to practice pro hack vice as counsel for amicus curiae, which means friend of the court, on behalf of the Chamber of Digital Commerce. It translates to Sidley Austin LLP's attorney Tesler offering the court her advice in her expertise of securities offering, which happens to be the crux of the problem in the ongoing XRP lawsuit. Again, curiae, amicus curiae simply means friend of the court here. So we're going to really look forward to what she's going to bring to the understanding for the judge through this case. I'm about to play for you some excerpts from 2018 that have been going absolutely nuts on Twitter. And if you're on Twitter, I encourage you to retweet this stuff as much as possible. We need to get this pressure built up even more than it already is, because there is so much regulatory misconduct here, or at least that's what it appears to be, that we need to bring as bright a light as we could possibly bring to this situation. Listen to these comments at the latest deployment because of the appointing of Lilia Tesler's plea to be a friend of the court and amicus curiae on behalf of the digital commerce, and former SEC official or SEC staffer Nancy Wotas from 2018. Listen what's said here.
You can see the safe harbor proposal that we put into the SEC. It was all supposed to be confidential, and it got leaked.
It got leaked? Well, there's news right there. I was not aware that the safe harbor got leaked. Interesting.
As well as a memo from Lowell's firm, which is an excellent memorandum on why tokens should not be securities.
Oh, so the backdoor meetings from these people here on this panel was about why digital cryptos should not be securities. Even more interesting.
But so it got leaked, and that's why we feel pretty confident about talking about the conversations we've been having with the SEC.
Tell them, Nancy.
And the thing is, there is a role for government. There is fraud going on. My wish is that the SEC would actually focus on the fraud cases rather than focusing on companies who did a token offering where there's utility in that token, may not be the full functionality that we're all kind of singing from the same hymn book.
From an operational perspective is that currently, if
this is Lilia Tesler, who is now really a technical consultant to the court directly. Check it out.
A token is viewed as a security on a blockchain, in order for it to comply with the securities laws, every time there's a movement of the token among two parties, peer-to-peer, that's a securities transaction. So the entity designing that blockchain, the issuer, or some other participants have to be registered as a broker or dealer, be responsible for trade reporting, comply with capital requirements, all of the securities laws that apply to a traditional financial services company, and will vary based on federal, state, local requirements for each of those. And it's just not feasible to do so for blockchain companies. And that's part of the education and relief that we're seeking, that tokens that may be sold in a manner that complies with securities laws don't necessarily need to be securities when they're used on a blockchain.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful remarks right there from the newly granted technical consultant to the court on securities and digital assets and cryptos and blockchain. But we're not done yet. This is the former SEC. You're going to hear from many people here, but one of them is the former Nancy Wotas, who was a former SEC staffer here as well. Let's listen to this because this gets quite interesting as well. Here we go.
Capital formation.
And also to add, all of the communication we've received or limited guidance from the SEC from the enforcement side or proactive guidance stems from the fact that the SEC doesn't yet know where and how to act in this space.
Uh-oh, I thought Gary Gensler said that the SEC was very clear on what was what. This is back in 2018, just days before the William Hinman speech. But keep watching because digital asset investors found a clip from Nancy Wotas that you're about to see that reveals something very, very damning about the SEC in that William Hinman speech.
What we're doing primarily is educating the SEC on what blockchain technology is.
If you have a fully functional network and you go ahead and you issue a token in that context, those early tokens will always be security tokens. And again, notwithstanding what the speech said. And we're going, well, tokens are mutable, they can change. And that's what Bill Hinman said. And it's like, well, we don't really believe that.
So the SEC really didn't believe all of what was in the William Hinman speech about tokens being securities in the beginning and then moving out of that potential position or designation. Because the SEC just believes everything is a security. That's the problem here, right? So then here we have proof that Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse have always worked within the system with regulators and the banks following best practices. And you're about to hear Lilia Tesler, who suggests that the best practices are to make sure that you're going KYC and AML with your project and your tokens, and goes to speak to what Attorney Solomon said yesterday about the SEC using a sword and shield approach, which is unfair to Ripple, which really suggests that we're nice when we want to be to draw you in, and then we stab you in the back once we get you in here, and then find out what's going on inside your operation and decide to play Sybil, and we're one way today and we're another way Jekyll and Hyde tomorrow. That is not how to regulate. And listen to this.
So how would we suggest to them that they, not be a target? Let's assume that there is no clarity. They want to move forward. How do they do the best job they can of staying under the radar and building a business while the SEC is figuring this out?
I guess I'll just start with a quick thought is that the industry is coming up with a lot of self-regulatory best practices, and those are good guidelines to follow and try to stay ahead of. A good example is doing AML KYC on purchasers. There may not be technical requirements to comply depending on the type of entity, but that's best practice that is developed over time and maybe something to consider.
So best practices is to be KYC and AML. Well, listen to what Brad Garlinghouse reminds us of from past conferences. Listen.
Business deal together, some central counterparty is going to commute trust. As a consumer, that's Visa and Amex. In a banking world, that's correspondent banks, because you're using correspondent banks to do a cross-border transaction.
Give this audience a sense of how you guys have already put the infrastructure into place.
We actually primarily use technology behind the firewall, and that's really because that's where the banks are comfortable. Right. We're plumbers. We're enabling a much more efficient plumbing, but the endpoint where regulators care is, some governments care about capital flow controls, some care a lot more about KYC and AML and OFAC and any other acronyms. They get enforced at the endpoint. We don't change that. You can't do an anonymous transaction on RippleNet because every endpoint we work with is a regulated financial institution.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Every entity that they work with is a regulated financial institution. Again, as Attorney Solomon said yesterday, the SEC has been using a sword and shield approach, a very passive-aggressive approach to attacking Ripple and other projects as they see fit. This notion that Gary Gensler claims that there is such clarity at the SEC about what these digital assets are like XRP is a fallacy. And it would appear that there is more problems than there are solutions going forward here. I hope that we all work together collectively, as we have been, to continue to retweet and share this information with as many people as possible. Again, call to action. We need to bring as much eyeballs and attention and light to these points as possible. Now, before we leave, let's go ahead and take a look at this very quickly here, because we want to show you that the current XRP price has broken its downtrend and is set to propel higher. This one analyst is saying here the next plan of action for price may be to hit the immediate resistance level of 130 and sustain above these levels without rejection, and hence the path towards a strong resistance zone to 163 and 173 will be clear. I want to remind people they're also calling for a range of possible $2 to $5 and above for XRP. But let's remember what Dark Defender says, and we're about to hear from CoinsKid. But Dark Defender's reminded us that 120 level has got to be sustained for at least a day or a day and a half or something of that nature. So this isn't very quick ride here. Then looking over here, this is CoinsKid, and if you're not following him, I would. I want you to listen here for a couple minutes and let him break down to you what's going on as well. Check it out.
There's this descending triangle right here which we've broken out of. So this is bullish, to be honest with you. This is great. We're breaking a key level resistance. We're starting to come up, and if we can get continuation here, you've got a technical target off this descending triangle straight off the bat. On the daily time frame, look, you're on your way, you've broken that level of resistance, you're going to come up and retest this high. So it's great, but if you start to get rejected there and you fail to break this high, you're going to roll, obviously, aren't you? And you're going to lose this support, and you're going to come down to another key level support. Because if you do break this high, you have a technical target. Okay, it's all about breaking the high. I'll show you straight away the impulsive wave to that target. You'll be looking at a $1.57 price tag, which from here, if we do get the continuation from this point right here, you're looking at further appreciation around about 32%. But to be responsible, this is what I always tell people: wait for the break and the confirmation of this high broken. If you start to break that high, you are looking at a lovely little long op on XRP of around about 16%. Okay, so that's that. If you break that high, it's all about breaking this high, because you can come out, you can have throwbacks, and come back into the pattern, because I'm going to show you exactly where this happened before. Okay, you broke out, yay, broke out of a descending triangle, amazing, run away. So again, this is what I'm expecting. Like I said to you, it works in waveforms. Okay, you come up, get a extended fallback to support, come up, and it works in waveforms. This particular impulsive wave target was met on the absolute nose, which I anticipate that this particular impulsive wave target is going to get absolutely met on the nose as well, providing we can hold support moving forward. So just here, look, let me explain. We broke out, we came down, we load out, okay, this correction, we load out, we came back up, we ran into a level of resistance, and we formed a descending triangle just there, and we pumped up, hit a level of resistance, rolled, had a correction, come down to a key level support. Okay, still good, still golden, still looking for continuation, because you was holding the 55 and you was in an uptrend. Okay, so good, golden cross, come up, overextended, come back to support, continuation, come up, okay, come up, overextended, golden cross, come back to support, continuation. Do you see that? Rinse, repeat, basically. Just because it's there doesn't mean it has to happen again, though. But my duty is to show you the levels of support and potential targets to put cheeky bids in if you lose support, okay? Right now, you are in a technical target to the upside, and you will get continuation, providing you break that high at 135, okay? Break that high at 135, you're looking at continuation, you're looking at 157. But if you do something very similar to this particular correction just there, where you came down, in this descending triangle, you came down like this, resistance, broke out, yay, ran into a level of resistance, didn't break the high, rolled back, lost support, you had a whopping correction, and you came down to a key level support, okay? Now again, you can see if you was to do exactly the same thing, where are you? You're coming back to the 0.618, the golden ratio. So, I'm not saying history repeats, but if it does, this is golden, because you're going to go through a beautiful impulsive wave, and you're going to be looking at a greater appreciation here. Just look, let me show you. If we drop the bar pattern on from here, from this line here, which is 382, to this level here, look, if we come down to there and bounce, look where we're going to. We're going to our impulsive wave target at 450. Let me show you.
Now, how about that? Now, that's why we have to understand that these things happen in cycles and in waves. And all of this is theory-based information anyway. So it is a possibility that no matter that we're sitting here at 120, we could break out and continue to push above. If we hold and then get above 135, and we could really be talking about being off to the races. But let us not take off the table, because this stuff is theory-based and these things are indicators. But it doesn't mean that they will always play out in the nature that we want to see them. And I know that that's not what a lot of people hearing this want to hear. But the adult perspective is exactly the one that CoinsKid is giving it. And we have to look at what the potential upside is in the near future and what the potential downside is if these indicators don't continue to hold. We could drop back into 80 cent range if it pulls all the way back like he showed us in this area. And if it does, it doesn't mean that any of this is off the table. And that's exciting for me. Knowing what we know about the fundamental news combined with the technical analysis of these great people, I couldn't be more excited about where we are. This is not financial advice from me or anyone else, but hit the like and subscribe and check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. They are great products and services I use each and every day, and they are vetted, trusted links. PureVPN running 99-cent 7-day special right now. Beautiful specials and sales on Ledger Nano, but you gotta click the link in the description. I'll catch all of you on the next one.